Remember that place up north in the sticks? Mom used to take us to.
No one will know we're here.
Who knows? Maybe we get up there and find work for both of us.
You guys live around here?
You know, we're just up the hill on Respite Road, so anything you guys need, you know, anything at all, you know, but stop by for a beer.
I'm trying to be a new person here, right?
We're not gonna stand for your stuff.
Nice to meet you.
Whoa.
And he was gonna call the police on us.
Is there anyone else here who can help?
I cannot help you.
They are coming!
Come on, you gotta let me in!
For everybody that's listening, if you're listening to us on one of the podcasting sites, subscribe, like, share. Plenty of places to listen to this at. Usually we push the YouTube stuff. That's where we get most of the views. So definitely check it out on YouTube. Radio stations, again, you can't subscribe, obviously. So we're not going to say that. But if you're listening to us on one of the 20 stations, we greatly appreciate that. Just doing these interviews is great. And we're grateful that we've had some companies stand by us and pushing out these interviews. So again, thanks again. Tell your friends, your family that you listen to our program, wherever it is on in your local area. We have a special guest today, Michael LoCicero, JL Pictures. He just put out a movie in May, I believe, and he can correct me if I'm wrong in just a moment. It's called The Killers Next Door. All the people that were working on the movie were from New England in general. They filmed the movie in New England, so it was great for a person from New England originally to be involved in having him on for an interview. So, Mike, thanks so much for coming on. Greatly appreciate you today.
Hey, thank you, Rob. Yeah, we well to correct you, we shot the film in May of 2019, but we just released in January of this year. Long process, long process, but yeah, we shot the film in New Hampshire. Did have a lot of all New Englanders on board as far as cast and crew, and that's kind of what we're trying to do with this production company, JL Pictures, is create a hub, a New England hub, especially Rhode Island centric, where we can create these indie films and utilize the crazy amount of talent that we have here in New England.
Well, I'll tell you what, and maybe we can kick this around as the show goes on, but I'll tell you what, movies now compared to, I believe, we're somewhat around the same age length, growing up, you know, it's all sequels. The movies are kind of a joke right now. There's not those good movies like there were in the past, in the 80s and the 90s. Now we're seeing these movies that, like I said, are sequels, and it's good to see people like you that are bringing these indie films that actually put that authentic spin on whatever you know, in your case, it was kind of like a thriller horror movie. Other people obviously do different types of movies. So, you know, I appreciate you putting out these authentic movies because we need more of that, because the movies out of Hollywood are garbage now.
I know it's tough to see them recycle so many already used, you know, stories, whether it be sequels or just like, you know, doing a reboot of the same movie that we know from the 70s or 80s, you know, that I mean, it's all a big money generator. They're just trying to, you know, I get it, but I'm with you. Like I much rather see original content. There's so many great stories and ideas out there that and people that we don't recognize that are, you know, creating great content. So we should be making it.
I want to talk about your passion for the film industry and also being a filmmaker in general. Can you talk about how that started? Was that something that when you were growing up started? Was it something when you hit your 20s? How did all that play out?
No, actually, it's funny because I'm looking at what's behind you, all the basketball memorabilia, and I grew up playing basketball. I was I played for my high school. Not that I was any big star or anything, but I my passion was basketball. I mean, if I wasn't playing at school, you'd find me on the court after school and on the weekends. That was just what I loved, and I didn't really get into um theater film. I started out in theater, but I even that I didn't get into until college. I just kind of on a whim had went to a community college. I grew up in California, by the way, and moved out to New England when I was 18, right out of high school. My mother's originally from out here, but so she wanted to move back. But so I had taken a drama class in a community college before I moved out here, just because I was for some reason interested. And the very first scene I ever did was playing the killer in the movie Scream. You know, with the opening scene with him on the phone with Drew Barrymore, and I got to play the killer. And I don't know, I just I was hooked. I fell in love with acting, and after I moved out here, I ended up going to college and majoring in theater, and it just kept growing on me more and more, and I felt like I was a decent actor and really learning the craft well, and so it stuck. And it's funny because when I went to college, I tried out for the basketball team, and I also tried out for the first play, and I got into both. But you know, rehearsals and practice conflict with each other, so you know, I really could only do one, and I knew I wasn't going to the NBA or anything crazy like that. So basketball is gonna have to take a seat.
Well,
So
the
yeah,
NBA's changed a lot since you, I'm sure, you were playing, but that's another
yeah,
story for another day. We won't get
yeah.
into that. But regardless of that, you know, even speaking about the movie Scream, I've watched all the Scream movies. I think they're all stupid and predictable, but I do
The
love them
original was
for some
good.
reason. Yeah, right. That's true.
The
Fair.
very first one.
Yeah, the very first one was pretty good, but they're all most of them afterwards were all predictable. I know they just put out a recent one a couple months back, but regardless of that, I love those movies, even though they're kind of stupid and predictable. But it reminds me also of the movies of I Know You What You Did Last Summer. They put up out about 4 or 5 of those too, and
Oh, I know.
those are kind of stupid movies too.
Keep
I
cranking them
like
out.
those too.
Yeah.
Yeah, but anyways, I want to talk about, you know, being a filmmaker. You've been involved in, you know, theater and, you know, producing films for quite a while now. Talk about what makes a good film to the audience.
I mean, I'm sure many filmmakers would agree that I think the number one is just story, having a strong story. You know, a lot of people try to, you know, focus on having uh, something kind of more spectacle about a film. You know, the flashy lights, the explosions, the stunts, and you know, all those things. It can be great to watch and a good aesthetic, but it boils down to just having a good story. And it doesn't matter what budget level you have, what kind of star power you have. If you have a solid story from the script, and it's something that you know has a great beginning, middle, and end, and you know hits home no matter what the genre is, I think it's going to be a successful film.
I agree with that. And I think too much of all the fancy dancy explosions can, you know, not be beneficial to the people viewing, especially as people continue to listen and watch our conversation. This is Michael Ocicero. It is The Killers Next Door. It's a movie just came out. You can check it out on Amazon. We'll also at the end get to other places where you can find more about it and also watch the movie in just a moment. But I do want to speak about the movie now, Mike. So let's talk about this. So what made you want to make the film The Killers Next Door?
So I've always been a big true crime kind of geek. My wife and I love to watch Datelines and 48 Hour Mystery and all those true crime shows. And I'm also just a big fan of the thriller genre in general, and Hitchcock and suspense. And it's just that's my cup of tea as far as movie watching. And my family, my aunt and uncle have a cabin. They live up in New Hampshire, and they've been up there for years, and I've always come to visit. And I wanted to take advantage of knowing that they would let me shoot up there if I wanted to, this big plot of land and beautiful New Hampshire, backdrop with all the woods and everything, and it felt perfect to write one of those kind of true crime slash I can't think of the term, but like a couple going on vacation up to their family's cabin in the woods, and this is basically what our story is about. But they cross paths with these criminals that are on the run, and it's one of those cabin in the woods type of movies, and it just felt right. So I took what I knew from a lot of the true crime shows that I've watched, and movies that I'd say the film is heavily influenced from, like a classic In Cold Blood, Truman Capote's In Cold Blood, and Straw Dogs, and even the Coen Brothers' Fargo. I wanted to make it a thriller that was not your typical kind of just jump scares and two-dimensional characters that it's all just relying on scaring people, and not about the blood and the guts and anything like that. I would almost say this movie is more of a thriller slash drama than a thriller slash horror, because it's not very gruesome. I mean, there's definitely violence, and I think once it gets to the I think we really nailed the scary moments and the suspenseful moments once it gets there. But this movie really, you're kind of following along these four characters, especially the criminals. We tend to focus more on them just because I thought it would be more interesting, because that's a lot less relatable than a married couple is seeing these two criminals, their path and their journey to get to these crazy, ridiculous decisions that they make on their kind of crime spree. And but the point is that we really tried to focus on the character depth in this film, and getting to know the characters and connecting with them, and seeing everything unfold, almost like a true crime show. So
yeah. I want to talk a little bit about the production, Mike, as far as getting these people involved with the actors. And obviously you had to, you needed a crew, obviously, for this production. Were these people that you already knew offhand that wanted to be involved in the project? Or was it something that you auditioned to have people involved in the film? How did all that come together?
Yeah, it's mostly all word of mouth, not holding auditions. We did hold auditions for the cast, but as far as crew goes, we have a really tight-knit New England film community, I'd like to say, into Mass, even in New Hampshire and Rhode Island, and there were many people on board that I had already known, but then my team of producers had recommended certain people, and we would basically go down the line of the positions that we needed to fill. And obviously with social media and the internet, you can also find people that way. But I feel like it was much more word of mouth, because a big part of the process was bringing people on that we either knew personally or who we knew had a good reputation and would be someone great to work with, because it was a tight schedule, and it's a very low budget film. So I mean, it was a paying job, but not paying as well as the bigger movies that come out this way. And we were also, we shot 12 days in New Hampshire, and we were going to be housing people up there, so it needed to be a tight knit group that we knew were going to all get along with each other and work well together. So it was definitely based on people recommending, oh, this person is great and they could do this. And we also had people juggling positions because it was such a small film, not only budget wise, but it just being up in New Hampshire, and having limited housing and limited time, we wanted it to be kind of a smaller crew. So we had people that were, our production designer was also our props person, and she even helped out with wardrobe, and we had many situations like that where, the grip was also a gaffer, and I, was an actor in it, also the producer and director, but I had my first AD kind of helping me direct the film as well, because I definitely didn't want to direct myself acting. I think that is not a really strong move in general. At least it doesn't work for me anyway.
So you got all this done as far as the filming in 12 days. We hear, as obviously these feature films that are, doing this for weeks, months, years. Obviously, that wasn't the case for this 12 days. It seems like that's pretty hard to do, to get everything done as far as takes, as far as, using the materials that you needed and get everything done in those 12 days. How was that? Because it seems like that was, pretty fast.
It was a extremely tight schedule. And 12 days was just what we did in New Hampshire. We did also shoot 3 days in Rhode Island.
Okay.
And then we had, I think, two different weekends of reshoots and pickup shots, just kind of things that you, after you finish shooting, you go through the footage and you realize, oh, we either didn't get a shot here, or we could really use a shot here of something in particular, and it was generally something really small, like a little insert of like a hand, or, just some little detail shot that will really help add to
The story.
the overall story and picture. Yeah. But that said, the New Hampshire shoot was the biggest, the most daunting gauntlet of a schedule. It was really tight, and I mean, it was my first feature film, especially in wearing the multiple hats that I wore. I couldn't be more proud of how it came out, and I think we had a stellar crew and cast, and all the people who helped me make it were just top notch, and I think it came out well. That said, there are many things I've learned from it, and lessons that I took, and things that I would do differently than on the next round, to make sure it was a much tighter ship. Especially when you're working with a tight schedule like that, there's things that you need to be more aware of. And, like we didn't, I was very close with the script. Obviously I wrote it, and it's something I worked on for years, but we didn't have it storyboarded out. So that's something where the shot list would have been, I feel like we would have been a much more well-oiled machine, so to speak, if we had it all storyboarded out. And I even had my partner, co-producer Mark Fogarty, he's my partner in the production company. He was starting to storyboard everything, but it just, timing wise, we kind of were like, oh, let's just go. We're gonna just figure it out on the day, and I want this shot, I want it to look like this. And it ended up working out fine, but there were definitely hiccups along the way, and kind of, people not necessarily knowing exactly what I was looking for. My DP and the gaffer, I feel like we had times where they were trying to light the scene and shoot the scene a certain way, and it wasn't really exactly how I envisioned the film coming about, which was not any fault of theirs. It's probably more a fault of mine for not communicating it better. But that's just an example of the little bumps in the road along the way. I mean, I think it really came together in the end, and just next time it'll hopefully be a much smoother process.
Well, it was your first feature length film, so but
Yeah.
it looks like very good from the trailer that I seen. Again, we're talking about The Killers Next Door. It's a movie that just came out. The whole cast is from the New England area. People worked on the film from the New England area. Michael Lucistro here on Fire Breathing Rob, JL Pictures. I almost said Productions, but I said Pictures, so we'll keep
That's all
it
right.
there. Let's keep kicking this interview around. So, you guys did have the screenings in Warwick, in Seekonk. I know you talked about briefly before the interview started that you also had a movie screening, even though it did rain, over in North Smithfield. We're talking about Rhode Island and Massachusetts as far as that stuff goes. How was the reception at all of these screenings as far as that goes?
Great. Honestly, I think the movie plays much better on the big screen, just generally speaking. I mean, it's a good watch either way, but the few screenings on a larger screen that we've had, people were that much more impressed. I felt our sound design is probably something I'm the most proud of with the film, thanks to my sound designer Alex. I actually just realized I've never said his last name out loud. I've only seen it written, so I don't want to butcher his last name, but Urati.
It's okay.
Yeah, but sorry, Alex. But he is one of the best, and the sound design and the score from the film was stellar, and I think it really comes out that much stronger on the big screen with large speakers around you and everything. And but we had great reception. The screening we had in North Smithfield, that was at the Rustic Drive-In. So that was as part of the Rhode Island International Film Festival that the film was accepted at. So that was technically our Rhode Island premiere back in 2021, and it was a lot of fun to see it at the Rustic, but it wasn't the best turnout. I mean, it was also during the pandemic, so what can you do? But and it rained that night at a drive-in. But the people who were there seemed to really enjoy it. But that was kind of the impetus for me to set up this New England premiere in a theater that we just did a couple of weeks ago in Seekonk. I thought we deserved to have kind of like a traditional red carpet screening, and so we rented out the theater at the Seekonk Showcase, and really did it up. I kind of teamed up. I partnered with this guy. His name's Joshua Dolan. He runs a media site called Horror Depot, and he was the one who actually reached out to me and had said, "Hey, you should have a local screening of the movie. I haven't seen it playing around anywhere." And it kind of kicked off from there. And so he helped me get this screening together, and brought in some people to, he had someone come to set up speakers for us, and had a PA for the Q&A, and then he had another person that came to sell merch. We had some swag that I had put together, as a Killers Next Door t-shirts and posters that the actors signed autographs on, and it was a great night. And going back to your original question, I think the reception was awesome. Like, people, I have yet to hear any real critical feedback from the theatrical screenings. People just seem to really like it. I mean, it's no Citizen Kane by any means, but it's I think it's a pretty decent film, and well paced, and does the job.
So, Mike, what's up next for you? Any new film ideas that you're working on? What are you doing right now?
Yeah, so we have a script lined up for our next feature, and that we're currently trying to put together funding for. So it's very early stages. I mean, the script is finished, and it's another thriller. Right now, the title, which I'm pretty sure will be our title, is called Enjoy Your New Home. And I'm not going to give you much more than that because we're in such early stages, but it'll be another thriller, and we're definitely up in the ante compared to the last film. We hope to step it up budget wise, and it'll be something that is going to be shot here in Rhode Island and Mass, and we would love to get some local talent involved, but also some name actors. Just to help with really establishing ourselves once the film comes out and we're looking for distribution, because marketing wise, that'll be a huge uplift, getting some name talent attached. But yeah, that's what we're working on right now, is trying to get, put together funding for this film. I also have a short film that we shot last year called Time, Space, Motion, and Kissing. It was based on a play written by my friend Craig Handel, who I actually performed in the play version, and I loved it so much that I thought it would be a great short film, and Craig gave me his permission to make it. So we shot this film. We shot it all in one take too, which is pretty cool. It's like an 18-minute film, and my DP Eric Simpson, he came to rehearsals with us, and we kind of mapped out his choreography as we rehearsed the piece itself, and then we went and we shot the film in one night in a few hours, and had it all takes place in a bar, but it's more of a drama, but it's a really sweet little story, and right now that short film is in the festival circuit. I just finished putting a poster together for it that I'll be putting out there soon. But yeah, in the meantime, in between features, we always get that itch that we want to keep making something. So made that short film and probably make some more.
Sounds good to me. As we go toward the end, I want to ask you this, Mike. What do you hope people learn from the film when they do see it, or if they have seen it, what do you hope they learned?
Well, as far as I hope they just take it for what it is, and enjoy it for what it is. I do feel like some people might go into it thinking that it's going to be a lot more action packed than it is, and that might disappoint people sometimes. But I think if you go in just thinking it's a suspense thriller drama, and I try to let people know it's a slow burn, but it's a good one, and it's worth the watch, that most people really enjoy it. And I mean, for as far as other filmmakers, if they're going to learn something from it, just learn that you anything is possible. It just starts with a story. If you put together a solid story that works, then everything else will fall into place. If you can get good location and a great crew of people around you, you can make a movie.
Again, for people listening, Michael LoCicero here on Fire Breathing Rob. We hope that you go out and see the movie if you can. It's on Amazon. We're going to talk about where they can find it in just a second. The movie is The Killers Next Door. So, Mike, let's have at it. Where can the people go and watch the movie? I know I've teased Amazon. Is there anywhere else online? And also, how can people follow you on, whether it's on social media or a website, wherever it may be?
Yeah, thanks, Rob. The movie right now is streaming on, like you said, Amazon. You can buy the film or rent the film on Amazon, but then it's also for free on, I think it's called Freevee, which is through Amazon. You can also find it on Tubi. This is more the ad-based video on demand. So you can watch the film for free, but you're going to have to deal with the commercials broken up in between the scenes of the film. If you don't mind that, give it a go. Otherwise, you could rent the film on Amazon, Vudu, and Tubi are the ones that I'm aware of right now. And we should be releasing international in the next couple of months, and then hopefully branch out even further. So I hope to generate more response for the film that way. But yeah, that's where you can find it, and where you can find us on social media. We have a Instagram page for the film, Killers Next Door, and for the production company JL Pictures, we're on Instagram, Facebook. We have a website, killersnextdoor.com, where you can find. We have a link tree set up so you can get direct links to get the film through our website, and also just see more info on the film and who we are, and get a little backstory on it all. And yeah,
We'll
All
definitely
right.
put that in the description, Mike. And again, I appreciate you coming on again. The Killers Next Door, Amazon, Freevee, Tubi, Vudu.
Yeah.
I got everything, I think.
Yeah.
God willing, we hope. Anyways, again, definitely check them out. Michael Cicero, JL Pictures. Check that out. And then the Killers Next Door. Mike, it's a pleasure to have you on. I hope we keep in touch. And
Absolutely.
I'm looking forward to your next works. And I'm looking forward to watching the movie soon, too. I haven't seen it. But I need to see it. And maybe I'll watch it tonight, as long as it's not too scary for me at night.
No, you'll be able to handle it. And I look forward to your review, as I, kind of gave the whole, it's a slow burn, it's not too crazy. So I want to know what you think.
But you should always go into a movie with, an open mind, and not get too fired up. I don't really read the reviews and all that gobbledygook nonsense anyway. I just go in and say, hey, it's good or it's not by the end, and that's it. So
yeah,
we'll leave it there. Again, Michael Cicero, JL Pictures. Definitely check it out. The Killers Next Door. Mike, thanks again.
Thank you, Rob. Really appreciate it.